to Washington. We also will have high-level meetings there to talk about the next steps in front of us. And the second thing on the foreign affairs issues is obviously the Gaza question. The key question is that we find a united approach, because Europe is not united at all. And that's why, let me say that it doesn't help to have debates about the formulation, whether we call it genocide or not, whether we use the word or not. That doesn't help us. That is even splitting us as Europeans, as European Union. That's why we should not continue this debate in the EU level. What we need is to find unity, to find a common approach. And that means Europeans must be united to end the conflict and tell our Israeli friends that this is not the right way to do it. And first of all, we have to guarantee that humanitarian aid, also financed and supported by the European Union, will end up in the hands of the people who deserve it and who need it so urgently. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We have time for a couple of questions. Please don't forget to mention who you are and who you're working for. Let's start in the very back.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Vincenzo Genovese from Euronews. My question, Mr. Weber, is how do you see the future of Alexander Vučić SNS party in the EPP, given his contested divisive policies and links, supposed links to Russia? Is this creating a sort of debate inside the EPP family?
This is creating a debate inside of the EPP family, you can imagine. And we are, as EPP, we are aware about the developments there. We see the pictures, we see the developments there. The EPP has not a blind eye on what is happening in Serbia. And that's why I will, as EPP leader, initiate a scrutiny process about Vučić and also the party being part of the EPP family that will take place in the next days.
You have a follow-up to that?
Quick follow-up, sorry. Is it true that Mr. Vučić was prevented to come to the EPP Congress in Valencia by the EPP leadership? Thank you.
All leaders are equally invited. All member parties and also associated parties are invited, and that's a free decision whether they join or not. Vučić decided not to come.
Emmanuel Beretta, je vais poser ma question en français. Qu'est-ce que vous répondez au dernier discours de Mario Draghi qui appelle une fois de plus à une dette commune, à un changement de méthode en Europe, à une accélération du calendrier de compétitivité qu'il avait présenté il y a un an dans son rapport? Et qu'attendez-vous, en l'occurrence, du discours de Mme von der Leyen demain?
We are 1 year after, based on the Draghi report, Ursula von der Leyen presented in the plenary of the European Parliament her program for the future of the European continent economically. And that's in a way one of the headlines of this Commission of these 5 years, to win back competitiveness based on the Draghi report. For me, the Draghi speech on the Rimini event in Italy is another very strong wake-up call, quite clear, quite precise, that Europeans probably experience in this moment of time that we are even economically not anymore capable to defend our interests on global stage, because we are losing every day competitiveness and economic strength. So the only pillar where we thought that we are strong, because militarily we are not strong, diplomatically we are not strong, and from an economic point of view we thought we are a world power, but even there Draghi is putting a question mark onto this. That's why it is another wake-up call, a quite clear message from Mario Draghi: please speed up and do your job. And there are all elements, you know, from my political group, all elements are on the agenda. But let me be also very clear, when we look to what is currently happening in a country like Romania with a state deficit of 9.5%, where my party leader from the EPP, Ilie Bolojan, as Prime Minister, is delivering now an approach towards a stable budget. When you see what is happening in your country, in France, then everybody must recognize that borrowing money is not the final solution. It can help from time to time, like we do it with the SURE project now, or we did it with the recovery fund. It can help from time to time, but it cannot be a sustainable answer to our challenges. What we have to do is to make Europe again a competitive continent, a competitive economy, and that's why a moment of truth is in autumn, and the starting point, it looks probably a little bit minor important, but all the omnibuses on the table, are highly symbolic in this moment of time, whether the Parliament and the Council are now capable, ready to do the necessary step, to give the economy the assurance we understood, we have listened and we understood. And for us, it's not a surprise because we say this since Bucharest. It's a long-standing demand from the EPP. We follow our approach, and to be honest, I'm quite happy that now, for example, the socialist Danish presidency, Frederiksen, is exactly putting competitiveness, defense and migration on the agenda. So our Bucharest manifesto. And that's now more and more visible that we were right. And what I want to underline also for the State of the Union, we are now delivering. Step by step, we are delivering. Moment of truth, now we have to be honest.
More questions?
Thank you very much, Daniel. Weber with the Luxembourg Public Radio. You were talking about the moment of truth. Exactly. What else do you expect from the speech of the President tomorrow? And how satisfied are you with the US trade deal? What do you expect there from her?
So on the US deal, my party is the Free Trade Party of Europe. We were always in favor of, for example, discussions about CETA years ago when we had the Canadian agreement on the table. For us, it was clear we want to sign it. We are the WTO party. 80% of our trade in Europe today is based on WTO rules. So that is what we want to strengthen and what we want to defend. And in this regard, obviously, 50% tariffs about our export tariffs to US doesn't make us happy. That is not good for us. But it is in this moment of time, having an American president in mind who loves tariffs, that is the reality we are facing. That's why having this in mind, that on the one hand we would love to see a real relaunch of TTIP in a way, to come back to zero tariffs approach for both sides. In this reality we are living today, that is the best what we can get, and what we need for our economy is now stability. My group will support the US agreement. We will vote in favor of this. We will have some discussions of the details when it is about especially the link to the WTO rules, because that is really fundamental for Europe. But in principle, EPP is behind this, and that's why we will support this. Allow me to say that in this regard, we need also a step further, because the rest of the world is waiting also for Europe's partnership approach. There are still many of countries who love to have a rule-based trade relationship. And that's why all the considerations, the talks we are doing currently with India, for example, are fundamental. If we can finalize this until the end of the year, as Ursula von der Leyen agreed it with Prime Minister Modi, would be a great message. And also Mercosur. So on these issues, we need now the test that those who want to have a rule-based trade agreement should see Europe as a real partner. The EPP is ready to do so. And the first question was about?
About what else do you expect from the President's speech when it comes to the moment of truth? What other elements would you think of?
I think Ursula von der Leyen can really, first of all, underline that Commission did the first steps. So when you see what happened in the first month of this new Commission, we saw a clear competitiveness pillar, with especially the omnibuses, with the idea of single market, strengthening the single market. We saw defense initiatives like never before. First time Europe is spending money with a SURE project on defense issues, which was unthinkable 5 years ago. Now we are doing it. It's practically implemented. And we also have on migration, with the return regulation, with the safe third country, the two missing elements of the asylum pact on the table. It is now there. And the content of the Commission proposals are quite ambitious. So I'm happy now the talks we had over the last month. The Commission delivered on a lot of issues we promised as EPP in the Bucharest manifesto. And I think Ursula von der Leyen, the President, should be really underlining these kind of successes. Now it's up to the legislators, the co-legislators, the Parliament and Council, to follow up and to really deliver. The outside world is waiting. They don't need further speeches. They are waiting for results.
More questions? Yeah.
Hi, sorry. Hi, Laura Zornoza for EFE. Two trade questions. One on Mercosur. I was wondering what your estimate of the percentage of your group that will be supporting the deal in this House will be, seeing as some positions seem to be shifting. And the second question on trade is in the US deal, whether the EPP family wants to change anything when it comes to the Parliament. Thanks.
So on Mercosur, for us, the decisive question was, can we create more certainty, more assurance to the farmer sector? I think that was obviously in the center of the final debate. And having now in mind that the Commission is proposing a legally binding mechanism to create safety and certainty on the market side, that there is no radical market impact on Mercosur when it comes to the farmer sector, that is a great assurance. You know, what was already laid down in the treaty is now transferred into legally binding mechanisms inside of the European Union. That can help us to convince also farmers. My group will support Mercosur in this moment of time. It's also highly symbolic. If you don't want to push South America closer to China, then we have to agree now on Mercosur. And I think the arguments are strong, the arguments are there. And when you speak about the numbers, we are still not yet in the final decision-making process, so there is time still to discuss the issues. I can tell you the numbers of supporters is growing, so we are getting in a good direction. We support the agreement, we support the general understanding, because we need now certainty for and stability for the markets. And the key element in this regard is the WTO question. There are still discussions ongoing.
Maybe let's group a couple of questions, maybe Politico first and then you.
Hi, Max Guerra for Politico, thank you. There's a resolution being negotiated on Gaza, and I was wondering whether you as EPP would support a version of it that calls what's happening there genocide. It seems that's a red line for S&D and Green, so would EPP be on board with this wording? Thank you.
Yes, thank you for the floor. This is Fabio Napoli for the Italian news agency Public Policy. Since the S&D and the Renew are more and more tired of your alliances with the right, I would like to know from you an answer on this. Thank you.
So on Gaza, you know, negotiations started now. You saw our EPP draft proposal for the Gaza resolution, and we reflect on both sides. On the one side, the right of Israel to defend itself. On the other side, which is currently more in the center, obviously, is the humanitarian situation. We underlined this. And again, I said it, the debate about the wording is splitting Europe. It is not helping us in this moment of time. It is not bringing us more credibility, more power, more influence on global stage and also towards our Israeli partners. There is no alliance with right extreme. You know, my group is the group who is fighting every day against them. When you see it on the party side, for example, I'm quite proud that in Poland it's Donald Tusk, my predecessor as EPP president, who is in the front line to fight against populism and anti-European forces. It's Peter Magyar, member of my political family in Hungary, who has a chance to win against Orban next year. In beginning of October, we will have elections in Czech Republic, where Babiš, a former member of the Liberals, by the way, of the Liberal group, Babiš moved now to Orban and Le Pen, and my parties are fighting in the first row for a pro-European development in Czech Republic. That's what EPP is all about, and that is what we are doing every day on the ground. And you know that I presented already before summer the figures that the socialists had more joint votes in the plenary in this mandate with the right extreme than EPP had. We had around 3%, 2.7%, and the socialists had around 7% of votes where they have unified positioning with the right extreme. So if the socialists are complaining, please do your homework. You had more votes with the extreme than we had. So in a way, I'm a little bit fed up about this. People are fed up about this. People want to see solutions. And I ask myself, why is Irache Garcia now saying publicly that they refuse the US trade agreement. Why is she doing so? That is a message of I go in opposition and not being responsible. Ribera on the Commission side supports the trade agreement. So I ask myself what the socialists are doing. It's not easy to defend now in this moment of time the US agreement. I know. Publicly it's not popular to do so. But what we need is responsibility now. And what I ask now the socialists to do is to behave responsible. When I go to the EIA, to the car show in Munich at the end of the week and meet with the trade unions, they are extremely worried about their jobs. And that has to be answered now. So open the doors, open the windows, and let's reflect what is happening outside of this room and then deliver. That is what we have to do. Being responsible, we are really in front of an autumn of truth.
We slowly have to come to an end, but maybe one or two more questions. Yes.
Hello, Adrian Vicente from AFP News Agency. I have a question on the fall of the French government yesterday. What is your take on that? Does it worry you?
Oui, bonjour, Emmanuel Strosser pour Bruxelles 2 en français. Votre groupe a exprimé des impatiences sur de nouvelles initiatives législatives dans différents domaines, dont celui de la défense. Je voulais avoir des précisions sur vos attentes dans ce domaine-là de la défense, que vous attendez demain du discours de Ursula von der Leyen, et une précision, une suite à la question sur la résolution de Gaza. Est-ce qu'une résolution évoquant des sanctions contre Israël ou une remise en cause du contrat d'association pourrait être soutenue par votre groupe? Merci.
On Gaza, again, the negotiations are ongoing. And it's not a secret that also inside of the EPP group there are different priorities when it is about the answer, the right messaging towards the Israeli government in this moment of time. So that's why discussion is ongoing. That's good that we have this resolution and we discuss it this week and come to final results. And when it's about the defense pillar, then yes, I think Ursula von der Leyen should and will also prioritize this consideration how to even further strengthen the European Union. I said already that we achieved in the last years so much as we had never before delivered on defense. So there is really a momentum there. And now the idea to present a kind of a preparedness plan for 2030 for the European Union should be really in the center. And next to strengthening the national army, which is obviously in the center, we must also build up now a European pillar of defense. And I ask, as EPP, we are asking for now concrete European projects of defense. For example, in the area of cyber defense, where we have no national borders anymore, we should keep our forces together to defend our digital infrastructure together. Or on the idea from the EPP, also supported by Donald Tusk, Kyriakos Mitsotakis, about the joint missile defense system for the European Union and on our external border to defend our sky, air together in the European Union. And also finally, a sky surveillance system where we are getting independent from American data on targeting our weapons in the future. So on all these elements, we need European solutions, and people immediately understand that Europe can only deliver on these big things together in a much better way. So that is what we want to do as EPP, and there we see a good chance now next week and tomorrow that Ursula von der Leyen will also focus on these issues.
Thank you for your interest this morning. In case you have further questions, you know how to reach us, and we wish you a nice plenary week. Thank you.